you know, and so when things start happening that are very unlikely, they might not be so unlikely. So you need to take this very seriously. We don't easily throw out accusations, of course, as governments, but we do take it very seriously. And the potential damage is equally big, regardless whether it is intentional or, as they put it, very bad seamanship. Yeah. Because if cables and electricity is being cut off, you know, it has really serious consequences.
And are there also risks that you actually might have fatalities from some of this? Because another thing that people have pointed to is these bombs that have been put on.
I'm more worried about an environmental catastrophe. I mean, the reason we need to contain and control the shadow fleet is that a lot of the ships are very old, kind of run down, and they have a masses of oil. So we're really worried about our Baltic Sea, that something might be happening there. And I think it's in the interest of all of us around the Baltic Sea, including Russia, that it doesn't get contaminated. But now we come to the question earlier from the Philippines, you know, freedom of navigation. So one of the things that we decided also to do is to look at the different measures in which we can prevent these types of events from happening without violating international law. It's a complicated matter.
So let me just finish, because we've only got about 4 minutes left, by talking specifically about the situation in Ukraine. It looks from reports that Russia has been advancing slowly. How do you see the war evolving over the next year, General? I mean, are you worried that Ukraine could lose quite rapidly?
No, I'm not worried that Ukraine could suddenly lose. I don't see the potential for a massive breakdown or massive breakthrough. And that's not a political, that's a military judgment. And it's got to do with both sides, the effective defenses that the Ukrainians have been putting in, but also the difficulty that the Russian side has in generating significant offensive forces to be able to exploit a potential breakthrough. So I think we'll see a lot more of the same sort of incremental advances we've seen. They are exhausting for Russia. I mean, there's a reason Russia brought thousands and thousands of soldiers from North Korea in to help fight. It's because Russia also is having manpower problems. So I think we'll continue to see this tension between a desire to advance and the shortage of manpower on the Russian side. I think that will define much of the conflict, and it will push the Russians to use a lot more standoff weapons, as you've seen them increasingly do over the past years. Destructive weapons, but rarely decisive weapons in terms of overturning a government or imposing a complete defeat.
But if this is the last big package of USA, the last one was passed, if no more comes through, does that change the situation?
Well, first of all, I think, you know, that's a hypothetical that we've got to be careful with. But secondly, I would call attention to the very significant uplift in European aid that's been sent, especially in terms of munitions. There has been a significant increase in the output of artillery shells and rockets from our European allies who have been contributing in huge numbers to Ukraine. And I expect to see that continue, and I expect to see it increase as well.
Okay, so from the European leaders here, if America pulls back even a little bit, is Europe capable of filling the gap and keeping Ukraine in the fight?
Maybe let's take a step back. What would be the advantage for Mr. Trump to pull back? Exactly. Would it be to say, you know, Mr. Putin, you were right and you won? I find that a very hard argument for him. So, and you say that there's a military judgment. The military judgment is linked to political judgment. That is a core political judgment. There's none of the European countries that want to say, you know, Mr. Putin, go ahead, you did this with Ukraine. Now you wait 2-3 years to replenish yourself, and then you have a go at another European country. There's no European country that would agree to it. And I have a hard time to believe that that would be a strategic objective of the United States.
But there are two short answers. One is, yes, we can do more. We can do more as Europeans. And our strongest argument to the US to make them stay committed is for the Europeans to be role models. That's the only way for us to really be trustworthy when we ask the Americans also, American taxpayers, please stay committed to what's happening in Ukraine.
President? Fully agree. Look at it from Putin's perspective. This was supposed to be over in 3 days. We're into it for 3 years. He was supposed to make Ukraine Russian. It's European. He was supposed to keep NATO at bay, stronger than ever. He was not supposed to get NATO on his border, just doubled the border of NATO through Finland and later on with Sweden. So we'll just have to keep at it.
And from Belarus, are you confident that in the end Putin is going to lose, or do you think he could win?
You know, you are talking so much about weapon, physical weapon, but I have to say that a weapon is senseless without brave people. So let's think first of all about investment to people. You know, you know, because I'm here just in a little bit different position because I'm a nation that needs support and your countries who are providing support. And I believe how it's important not to lose trust into your allies, not to get this feeling of being betrayed at the moment, you know, because when you have this, you know, sense that you are abandoned, you are forgotten, that countries don't pay attention, you know, to you or not keep you in focus, it's really demoralize people, and they lose trust into democracy, and it's very important. They lose trust in neighbors, and it's not only about Belarus or Ukraine; it's about members of European Union as well, because now I live in Lithuania. It's a wonderful country, very brave, principled, but when I'm talking to Lithuanians, they're also not sure, just in the case Russia will come to Lithuania, that NATO alliance will come and protect them. So because they see that, you know, assistance to Ukraine, you know, is decreasing, so not so much attention, so they really want to, I want you to keep trust in each other. This is important. You might have, you know, dozens of tanks and helicopters and so on and so forth, but if people don't believe in your capability, you know, to support each other and come and rescue your ally, so everything is senseless. So contribute, you know, invest into people.
Thank you. That's a very good note to end on. So thank you to the entire panel and to the audience. And that's it for now.
Thank you.